Tonight on To The Point, protecting renters. The new laws signed by the governor that will increase accountability for landlords and rental properties. Plus an ABC 10 exclusive. Hear from the mother of one of the suspected K Street shooters who overdosed in jail on methadone.
My son was a high-profile case. You should have been watching.
And later, hundreds of people sickened after participating in a popular race. Tonight, the new lawsuit against the organizers.
Good evening. Thank you for ending your week with us here on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. Governor Gavin Newsom wants to increase accountability, transparency, and efficiency around housing in California. This week, the governor signed a package of 32 housing bills that aim to streamline housing, address homelessness, and strengthen penalties for local cities and counties that fail to comply with housing laws. Among the new laws are also increased protections for renters. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen is here tonight to share what these new laws will mean for renters and landlords.
Alex, there are 4 bills in particular the governor signed that address housing protections, and that ranges from security deposits to credit reportings. Now, the idea is to protect both renters and property owners.
32 bills will be pressed, all across the spectrum around streamlining, transparency, accountability, renter protections.
Of the 32 bills signed this week by Governor Gavin Newsom, a portion of them addressed housing protections for people living in rentals.
We believe that they did provide a balance and in some cases are positive, certainly for both landlords and tenants.
The California Apartment Association provides education and legislative affairs for rental property owners and tenants. Some of the bills impacting the CAA: Assembly Bill 2801 regarding security deposits. While the CAA says it's already existing in the law, this bill allows for more clarifications.
What it will require rental property owners to do is do some proof. So when the tenant moves in, they're going to take pictures of the unit to show the condition that existed.
Assembly Bill 2747 will allow tenants with good rental history to be reflected in their credit scores.
Down the line, the next landlord will know that this tenant was a good tenant when it came to paying rent on time. So it's positive for both landlords and tenants.
Senate Bill 611 prevents landlords from charging renters a fee if rent is paid by check.
That, quite frankly, is something that we agreed with, and that's not necessarily a negative thing for rental property owners. We already have the right to charge a fee if the check bounces.
Lastly, Senator Tom Umberg's Senate Bill 900 addresses people living within a homeowners association, providing them protections regarding issues with utilities like gas and electricity.
What SB 900 says is if the homeowners association board doesn't act, then the management company can start to act so that people aren't left in limbo.
Lawmakers and the governor say the point of these bills is to provide affordable housing options for Californians.
Assemblymember Laura Friedman, author of AB 2801 regarding security deposits, tells ABC 10 she's grateful the governor signed her bill, adding unfairly retained security deposits cannot be one more financial hurdle we expect Californians to jump over successfully as mortgage and rent prices are high enough. Alex.
All right, Ginny, thank you. 2 Sacramento Area Charter Schools will be able to continue operations for another 5 years. The Sacramento City Unified Board of Trustees voted last night to extend the charters for Public School 7 and Sacramento Charter High. It comes after an audit in early August raised concerns about teacher credentials, conflicts of interest, and financial mismanagement at St. Hope Public Schools, which runs the charter schools. School leaders told the board that they are working on taking care of teacher credentials, and they do have a plan created for financial mismanagement.
It's only been the last couple of months where we've really gotten the feedback as to what concerns are. We've provided some information back.
I really appreciate that there are, at this time, very direct responses to every piece of the concerns that have been brought forward.
The board gave the extension with conditions that both parties must work together to fix existing concerns and prevent future issues. A CAL FIRE engineer has been arrested and accused of arson. Investigators say Robert Hernandez started multiple wildfires in Sonoma County between August 15th and September 14th. Hernandez has been booked into jail on arson charges. Tonight, in an ABC 10 exclusive, we are hearing from the mother of Smiley Martin. He's one of the suspected K Street mass shooting gunmen who died in the Sacramento County Jail. She spoke to ABC 10's Devin Truby in her first ever media interview about her son's in custody death. ABC 10 brought her new information Take a listen.
We can't reveal identities. On June 7th, during pill call, an inmate took his prescribed methadone and gave it to another inmate whose family member sent him a $50 via Cash App. The amount in that dose could be lethal for someone who's not been prescribed that medication or have a tolerance for it. The inmate who received the cup of liquid methadone drank the fatal dose in their cell and died that night.
Here's what we know. Smiley Martin, one of the suspected gunmen in the K Street mass shooting, died of a methadone overdose. He was found unresponsive and pronounced dead in his cell June 8th at 2:15 a.m. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office tells ABC 10 Martin is the only methadone overdose to occur that day. We played that same clip for his mother, Tessijara Mack.
It is that facility's responsibility to prevent him from doing that. It is their responsibility for their safety, for their lives. When they are distributing medication, it is a protocol and they are at fault.
The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says the jail's medication policy is that it must be consumed in front of a nurse and show proof that it has been consumed. But Sheriff Jim Cooper says some inmates will still find a way to get around the rules.
These inmates are very savvy. You got to watch. And it's one of those things where they play the game, they'll switch cups, distract the nurse.
If inmates can get creative and things can happen, then that is your negligence. That is a lockdown facility. My son was a high-profile case. You should have been watching.
Sheriff Jim Cooper says they are pursuing prosecution against anyone caught selling drugs in the jail. Under Sheriff Mike Ziegler says they want to pursue murder charges in these cases. Reporting in Sacramento County, Devin Truby, ABC 10.
Now, Max says so far she has only received a one-page autopsy report. The family's attorney, Mark Reichel, has asked the county to preserve all evidence for future litigation. The sheriff's office says that this is still an active investigation. Still ahead onto the point, a new lawsuit against the organizers of a popular race. What some participants say happened.
Highs today in the upper 80s and low 90s across the valley, but even hotter temperatures are in the forecast, especially for the first day of fall, what we can expect into next week.
And later on the back roads, from orchard to icon, how apples are powering a company's 150-year legacy. First day of fall this Sunday. Me and Carly already said, though, it's a California fall.
Yeah.
It's going to be in the 90s. It's going to be a little warm.
Yeah, warm. I'm trying to channel the fall feels with the browner kind of shades of leaves.
I do like it, yes.
Thank you.
I like the dress.
It's not working, though, because we're looking at 90s still through the weekend and into next week, unfortunately. But we may have some better news on the horizon as we get closer to the following weekend. Looks like we may see some 80s returning. The autumnal equinox, that's coming in. That's when the sun is directly overhead over the equator. There's a spring and there's a fall equinox, and that's when we expect to get equal daylight and equal night, and that's across the globe for the most part. I mean, differing by minutes everywhere you go up and down those latitudes, but that does come in on Sunday at 5:43 a.m. Now, we are looking at a warmer weekend ahead with elevated fire concerns. Gusty winds will pick up for us with low humidity levels. Now, the winds are coming in out of the north, right over dry land versus the ocean. That's going to elevate our fire concerns with moderate heat risk Monday and Tuesday. The high pressure in place is creating this ridge overhead that'll continue to keep any kind of storm system up and away from us, way up into Canada. And we'll continue to see those warm temperatures throughout the next week. The fire concerns for us moderate with dry fuels and those occasional wind gusts coming into those valley spots. Now, we will see winds through the valley mostly as we get the Delta breeze. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 15 to 20 mile per hour wind gusts, and through the Delta up to 25 mile per hour wind gusts from Fairfield on toward the Tracy Triangle Saturday and Sunday. After that, all those winds coming in pretty much directly from the north and through the Cascades and the coastal range areas first. We'll see that at 10 a.m. on Monday and then eventually starting to move throughout the afternoon hours, evening hours, Monday into Tuesday. We'll get that nice ridge building in overhead, nice and warm. And then finally, we get a small dip into the following weekend, which will drop our temperatures down into those 80s for that following weekend. So upper 90s into Monday and Tuesday. Then we finally get low 90s and 80s for the following weekend.
Next on To the Point, a new lawsuit against a popular race organizer, why participants are accusing the company of negligence. Plus, why San Joaquin County leaders were meeting with the FAA this week. Well, a lawsuit has now been filed against ToughMaw. It's an obstacle course where people often crawl through mud, and it comes after hundreds of people got sick last year after the event at the Sonoma Raceway. Reporter J.R. Stone spoke with racegoers about their experience.
This is what the ToughMaw event at the Sonoma Raceway looked like last year. Lots of mud and hundreds of participants who ended up with rashes days later.
We did the Saturday event and then also the Sunday event. And on that Monday morning, we woke up completely covered head to toe in a rash. And, not to get too graphic, but they were, pussy.
Evan Goldsmith has filed a lawsuit against ToughMaw for negligence and emotional distress, among other things. In addition to getting rashes like this, shown in pictures sent to us last year by participants who got them after the race. Evan and his wife were both also sickened for several weeks, impacting their work and family.
We drove home that Monday morning from Northern California down to Southern California. And by the time I got home, I had a really bad headache. I had fever. It was really apparent at that point that, we actually needed medical attention.
Dozens of people who were sickened after this race reached out to me last year. It's unclear if they are involved in any current lawsuits.
I look like I have a severe rash on both sides. You wake up the next day and you're like, what is all this on my arm? Like, what is going on here? And it's on both arms.
And I was just covered in these like pimply red blister pimple type things.
As to what it was, Goldsmith's attorney, Elon Zexter, who represents nearly 150 plaintiffs with similar allegations, say the rashes were caused by Aeromonas, a bacteria sometimes found in untreated water.
They used what is called a non-potable source, a hydrant, that has water that is not filtered. They pumped it in areas where the participants are swimming and crawling around. And then if the participants weren't going to get sick on the race course, they pumped it in the shower.
Goldsmith had done more than 40 of these races before getting sick last year.
Would you do another race again? And what are your feelings going forward?
No, I wouldn't. And it breaks my heart, honestly.
At the time of the race, the Sonoma County Health Department issued a health advisory and said the sickness could be a case of staph or skin infections. ToughMaw has yet to respond with a comment to the lawsuit. The Federal Trade Commission has announced a lawsuit against the country's 3 largest pharmacy managers, accusing them of inflating insulin prices. Caremark RX, Express Scripts, and Optum RX administer about 80% of all prescriptions in the U.S. The FTC claims the companies prioritize receiving high rebates from drug makers rather than keeping costs low for consumers. The companies responded to the suit, calling these claims baseless, saying they had lowered insulin prices for business, union, and patients. There's new momentum building around the Stockton Metropolitan Airport, and officials are hoping that it translates into some new flights. This week, a delegation of 10 elected and public leaders from San Joaquin County traveled all the way to Washington, D.C., and there they met with the FAA, TSA, and other federal agencies to talk about the future of the Stockton Airport. The talks with federal officials and lawmakers come as the airport continues to talk with other airlines.
We're very, very excited coming back to San Joaquin County. Very excited about what the future holds for this airport with the support that we're now expecting from Washington. We think we're going to be able to open a lot of doors.
Officials didn't say which airlines they are talking to, but said that in a few weeks they will be attending an industry event to continue those talks. They are also in the designing phase for nearly $26 million in improvements, including a new, bigger terminal. It's time for another trip on the back roads. Tonight, John Bartel is taking us to Santa Cruz County to experience apple harvest for one of the nation's largest apple juice makers.
Apple harvest in Santa Cruz Pajaro Valley generally takes place between mid-August and November. But to truly test whether the apple is ripe or not, Operations Manager Brett Hansen conducts a very simple test.
Ultimately, what we want to do is just go ahead and take a bite and take that taste. And that's ready to go.
The town of Watsonville is one of California's largest producers of apples. More than a dozen varieties are grown here. how many apples are you guys picking?
It's not about how many apples we're picking today, it's about how many apples we're processing a day.
How many is that?
5 million.
About 95% of all apples picked in this area are going to one company, who's known for making one thing.
Before we produced this product, nobody was making sparkling apple cider. We're the biggest producer of sparkling apple cider in the world.
Whether you're just a kid or now as an adult, chances are you've celebrated an event with a glass of Martinelli's non-alcoholic sparkling cider. Takes me back to Thanksgiving.
There you go.
For over 150 years, Martinelli has been producing apple juice and apple juice products, and it all starts with Pajaro Valley apples. This is extremely colorful. Look at this.
Yeah, well, we were talking about our apples. This is what makes Martinelli's unique. We have at least 7 different varieties of apples coming down this trim line.
President and CEO Gunn Reuter says getting those 7 varieties of apples into the iconic bottles requires a proprietary process of pressing the apples, filtering and pasteurizing the juice, and putting it into a bottle, all within 2 hours. How many bottles are you producing every day here?
So it depends on the type of product we're running. Anywhere from 200,000 bottles to maybe 400,000 bottles a day go through this plant.
Martinelli's distributes to every state in the U.S., including 40 countries overseas. Today, nearly all of the products are non-alcoholic, but that wasn't the case in 1886 when the Martinelli family started the company.
Our founder, Stephen, came over, figured out, wow, we've got all these apples. Let's start making, at that time, hard cider.
The Martinellis were Swiss immigrants who came to California during the gold rush, but struck it rich, quenching the thirsty palates of early settlers who didn't have safe drinking water.
Hard cider. Yeah, that was kind of the Gatorade of its day in a way, that was what you could drink safely.
Because the alcohol in hard cider killed bacteria, most people, including kids, drank it on a daily basis. That is, until Prohibition in the 1920s.
When Prohibition hit, we were able to apply pasteurization and start making non-alcoholic products.
Martinelli's apple juice became so popular that even after Prohibition, people bought more juice than hard cider.
We needed the space to expand our production to service the demand on the non-alcoholic side. So since the 70s, we didn't produce hard cider.
Gunn says the secret ingredient that kept people coming back for their juice and their sparkling cider is a very special apple called the Newtown Pippin.
When I hear Newtown Pippin, I feel like I need to hold my pinky out when I...
Exactly, it's a little high class. That is the proper form, John.
The iconic bottles also helped build the company's brand. In the early 1900s, they would promote the juice by stacking the bottles in tall pyramids or putting extra large bottles on the back of delivery trucks. Gunn says that the bottles were so important that when there was a bottle cap shortage during World War II, the Martinellis used recycled Coke bottle caps.
Collect all the bottle caps, pound those bottle caps and recycle them and put them on Martinelli's sparkling juice so we could survive World War II.
In honor of Martinelli's rich history, the company is bringing back a lineup of hard ciders, including one of the original recipes from 1868. And of course, they'll be using apples from the Pajaro Valley.
From Martinelli's in Watsonville, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads.
You already know, if you have something that you think would be a great road trip destination, make sure you let John know all about it. Just text your idea to 916-321-3310. Still ahead, the annual celebration taking over Capitol Mall. So if you're looking for something to do this weekend, the annual Farm to Fork Festival is back. They got vendors, food, and entertainment all taking over Capitol Mall. It's happening tonight until 9 p.m. You got plenty of time to get down there. Then again tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Again, you can find a full list of performers right now on our website, abc10.com. As always, thank you so much for watching and for inviting us into your home. If you have something that we should be looking into, make sure to reach out to me and the team. And remember, strangers are people we just haven't gotten a chance to meet yet. So take the time to get to know someone this weekend. And just so you know, To the Point does not end here. Make sure you watch our stories featured on the show. All you have to do is download the free ABC 10 app. Hey, it's Alex. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. The To The Point team and I love hearing from you, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. And don't forget, you can always email me and the team at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send us a text message at 916-321-3310.